Why is it that, like, all of a sudden, you need a certain type of lawyer, or you need a certain type of person to do this job, and all of a sudden they show up in your field out of nowhere? You bump into somebody at the store, and next thing you know, you start talking to them. It's exactly the right person to do the job. Okay, well, people that in the context of a standard model where everything is occurring as a result of random events, that is very unlikely. However, in the context of this theory, it makes absolute sense. That is, the vacuum is self-organizing everything. It's receiving all information, and it's feeding back the reality based on that information it receives. So an individual that becomes more and more aware of themselves, more and more aware of their relationship to the vacuum, more and more aware of their relationship to the field, is getting better and better at feeding information to the vacuum. And the vacuum is going to start becoming better and better at giving it the manifestations faster and faster and more accurate. So then the synchronicity the person's experiences are increasing. All of a sudden, they think of something and it happens.
I often wondered if there was a united organization of organisms, otherwise known as and every organism had a right to vote. Will we be voted on the planet or off the planet? I think that vote is occurring right now. I want to present to you a suite of 6 mycological solutions using fungi, and these solutions are based on mycelium. The mycelium infuses all landscapes. It holds soils together. It's extremely tenacious. It holds up to 30,000 times its mass. They're the grand molecular disassemblers of nature, the soil magicians. They generate the humus soils across the land masses of Earth. I first proposed in the early 1990s that mycelium is Earth's natural internet. When you look at the mycelium, they're highly branched. And if there's one branch that is broken, then very quickly, because of the nodes of crossing, internet engineers maybe call them hot points, there's alternative pathways for channeling nutrients and information. The mycelium is sentient. It knows that you are there. When you walk across landscapes, it leaps up in the aftermath of your footsteps, trying to grab debris.
The kings invented long-distance currency, which you still needed, right? Centralized long-distance currency, redeemable in gold. Why? Because if you want to buy something from Florence when you live in Paris, does some guy in Florence want a receipt for grain stored in a Florence grain bin? Not exactly, right? That's not useful to him. So he wants a long-distance currency, and that was what was used by merchants for long-distance trade. And long-distance currency, like our currency, was lent into existence, right? The king lends 100 pounds, they call them pounds, whatever, 100 units of gold into existence. You've got to pay him back and pay him back at interest. What the kings did was they decided to make local currency illegal and to force everybody to use coin of the realm for their transactions. So now, when I make grain, and I want to get, what was I going to buy, a wagon part or a horse? I've got to now go make my grain, get someone to give me gold for it, or I've got to go borrow gold from the king in order to do a transaction with him. So me and my neighbor can no longer interact directly. I can't create value for him, and he can't create value for me. I have to create value for the king, and he has to create value for the king, and then the king will give us a means to exchange.
I believe that in the 1960s, 1970s, and going on to today, the ecology movement is largely driven by a keen sense and a keen benefit of knowledge gained through psilocybin mushrooms. And I think many people here share in that, is that when you eat large doses of these mushrooms, you're impressed by many different things, but there's a kind of a call to arms. There's a calling out from nature that the earth is in trouble, that these are the guardians of the planet, and it's our turn to accept this responsibility and to try to repair the harm and to preserve the ecosystems of this planet before it's too late. So I don't think it is a hedonistic, egocentric experience. I think it's a global experience, and I don't think it's just by coincidence. I think there is an ultimate design behind all of this.
Now, the inability of our monetary scheme to reconcile with value creation from the periphery is analogous to the energy industry's inability to contend with a renewable resource. Right? Why can't we have a renewable resource in this country? Because how do you make money off a renewable resource? Turns out you can, if you know what you're doing, but you don't make the same kind of money. You don't make the same kind of money that you make off a scarce commodity, off a scarce resource. You don't make money the way we made it back in the Renaissance, when we sent people to some place to get brown people to dig coal or gold out of a place and bring it back home. Don't let them make anything with it. That's why we had the revolution, It wasn't really, we weren't mad at the king, we were mad at the British East India Trading Company. And we were mad at them because we would pick the cotton, but we weren't allowed to make stuff out of it. We had to ship it back to England, let them make stuff out of it, and then we bought it back from them. We weren't allowed to create value.
Why is marijuana against the law? It grows naturally upon our planet. Doesn't the idea of making nature against the law seem to you a bit paranoid? You know what I mean? It's nature. How do you make nature against the fucking law? It grows everywhere, serves 1,000 different functions, all of them positive. To make marijuana against the law is like saying God made a mistake. You know what I mean? It's like God on the seventh day looked down at his creation.
There it is, my creation, perfect and holy in all ways. Now I can rest. Oh my me. I left fucking pot everywhere. I should never have smoked that joint on the third day. That was the day I created possums.
Always a little different than what you imagine, and that's because what you feed to the universe comes back to you modified, because it has gotten modified from everybody else feeding things to the vacuum. So it's really important to know that you're creating your reality, but as well that reality is creating you. There's a feedback so that there's an absolute coordination of creation occurring as a result of the structure of the vacuum. It is coordinating all events, and higher you get in the structuring, in the crystalline nature of the vacuum, better you get at structuring the vacuum the way you want it, easier it is for all these coordinations to occur, and the synchronicity goes through the roof.